Hi guys! I'm here today to talk about some of the books that I read for November 2016. I really did not follow my TBR. I feel kind of bad about that. But I got asked to be a part of a website for a month, and I wound up doing it for a month to see if I like it, and I really didn't like it. I felt like I wasn't reading for enjoyment as much as I really wanted to, and I felt like I was not giving as much time to this as I wanted to, so I decided to no longer be a part of that website. I'm just going to focus on the books that I actually want to read and not on what people tell me to read. So most of the books in this video are ARCs that came from that website, but I won't be doing that again. So I will be able to focus on the many books that I've got myself this month and the past couple of months and at Comic-Con. And I did buy my tickets to BookCon, so I'm excited to go back in January. But I really just made a decision that I wanted to focus on what I want to read and not what people tell me to read. So that was a decision that I had made, and I hope you guys respect that. I was able to read 10 books and I was able to complete listening to one this month. A lot of my listening was spent with podcasts that I always get from Hypable and Aloha Mora. So I've been listening to a lot, and I have a lot of books that I want to listen to, so hopefully I will get to listen to them now that I am not as crazy busy reading 8 books by December, which was my task. So the first book that I finished reading was the Book Hype Book Club pick of the month for October, and it was Cursed by Jennifer L. Now, let me preface this with saying that this book came out a while ago, so it's not a new release. So my comments may be simply because I read this so late. I have read some books by Jennifer Armentrout in the past. I read another one of her standalones, Don't Look Back, which is a contemporary mystery thriller, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I read it last year at Halloween, and I was very, very impressed with it. This book fell a little bit short, I'll be honest. I only gave it 3 stars, and I felt like it was really a mashup of a bunch of different YA tropes into one book, and I just felt like it wasn't as unique as I've seen with Jennifer Armentrout before, and I felt like it didn't really reach its point. And it was a standalone, so there wasn't a lot of time to really delve into these characters and this story, and I just felt it wasn't as impressive as normal when I read her stuff. This book follows a character named Ember, and she had died, and her sister had brought her back from the dead with her touch, which her touch can bring back, can reanimate the dead. But due to that, she got the power that her touch basically kills you. Anytime she touches you, she kills you. Now, this sounds like a lot of other books in the world. I know Shatter Me, there is a little bit like Darkest Minds. So there is a little elements that kind of scream other YA novels, and I think that's maybe why I wasn't as impressed with it, just because I've read stuff like this before, and I feel like those world buildings was a little bit more unique and a little bit more different, and the threat wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and it just wasn't something that I really was that fond of. I did give it 3 stars, and I liked it. I thought it was a really, really quick read, but the payoff wasn't as big as I wanted, and it didn't have a lot of, the ending just was very, very, like, it was just very, like, non-dramatic. So, yeah, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But if you like a super fast, supernatural novel that does have a lot of YA tropes, and it just is not a series, it's just a standalone, I do recommend it. Jennifer L. Armentrout has come a long way since this novel, but I did enjoy falling back into it. As you guys have been watching all my videos, you know I'm in the middle of a Tamora Pierce reread, and last month we finished the Wild Magic series, and this month we're on to The Protector of the Young and Small. So the next book I read was The First Test by Tamora. I was not super fond of the previous series, and I really did like the Alana series. This series, I think, is probably one of my favorites. I really loved meeting Kel, and I loved seeing her journey to be a knight or a squire. I thought it was really, really unique, and I loved seeing her as a strong female that was proud of her femininity, because that was not how you saw Alana. And I really just liked it. It was a very, very fast-paced story, and I really, really enjoyed meeting her, and I loved all the drama that she got up to. I loved the politics, and I loved how her gender really did become a focus of the novel, but there was so much more the novel was about. So I really liked it, and I was very excited to move on to book 2. And then the next thing that I finished listening to was the Amanda Knox autobiography, Waiting to Be Heard. She is the American foreign exchange student that was living in Perugia, Italy, and she was accused of murdering her British roommate. And after 2 trials, an acquittal, a reacquittal, she wrote this novel about her harrowing experience. And I also had just watched the Netflix documentary called Amanda Knox. And I was totally on her side before I read the book, before I saw the documentary. So I just wanted to listen to it and hear her tell me the story because she narrates it. And I feel for her so much, and I feel for the family of Meredith Kercher, but I really think that she really was railroaded. So I think that if you really want a well fleshed out account of her story, I feel like you should give it a listen because it was really a really good audiobook, and I really enjoyed listening to it. And it's a very, very fast, like, I don't think it's like 12 hours or something, but you really want to know what happens because hearing her describe what happened to her is just as harrowing as watching news clips. But it was a really, really good listen. And then the next thing I read, which I have videos about on my channel, is Three Dark Crowns by Kendra Blake. This is the Owl Crate book for the month of September, and the theme was darkness. Really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. It basically follows these 3 triplets who are vying to become queen of their country, and to do that they have to kill their other sisters. There's a lot more about it. If you want to know more about it, go check out my video. But overall, I really loved the pacing, the world building, and also the strong female characters that were present in this novel. There really was very, very little men involved in the political upturn, and I kind of like that. And I'm very excited for the sequel as well, but this was the book for October, and I went in a little bit hesitant, as I said in my previous TBR video, because I didn't know if I would like it, but I turned out to really, really enjoy it and really, really love it, and I was really, really impressed with it. So go check out my full non-spoiler review if you want more information. Now I embark on all the books that I got from the website. These are all ARCs. I will mention the days that they did come out and my brief thoughts, but I do have a full video review about them where I talk about them in a little bit more detail. The first thing I read was 26 Kisses by Anna Michaels. This is a contemporary novel. It came out in May, and it's a perfect beach read. It follows this girl who her boyfriend broke up with her, and her best friend gives her a task. She has to kiss 26 boys by the summer ends, and it not only becomes a romantic story, but it also becomes a little bit about self-discovery. I gave it 3 stars. It was a really, really quick beach reading, and if you like that type of stuff, I would pick this up. There was a little bit of self-discovery, a lot of romance, and a little bit about finding yourself. So go give Veda's story a try. And this came out in May. And then the next book that I read was The Loose Ends List by Carrie Firestone. This book came out in June, and this follows a girl named Maddie who learns her grandmother is dying from pancreatic cancer, and her grandmother wants to take the entire family on a loose ends or a death with dignity cruise where all the actual patients on the cruise ship are going to do doctor-assisted suicide, and their families are invited to experience the journey with them. Maddie is the main character. I gave this book 3 stars as well. It was very, very character heavy in the first couple of chapters, and I felt like it was a little bit hard to become emotionally connected with all the characters because you met them so fast. But I did like it. I thought that it was a very, very heartfelt, grief-based story with a little bit of romance. Also very sexually explicit, so if you have younger ones, this may not be the best story for them. But overall, I did actually really like it, and I was impressed with what happened, and it definitely is a unique way of dealing with stuff, but I did like it, so I recommend you give this. I also gave this 3 stars. The next one I think is probably my favorite book that I got from the website so far, and that was The Great Shelby Holmes by Elizabeth Eulberg. This is a Sherlock Holmes retelling for the middle grade or younger YA set. It has both illustrations, and the kids are in, I think, middle school, but it follows a Holmes and a Watson as they try to figure out what happened to a cat. Oh no, a dog, I think, before, so he can attend the the dog show. I really liked it. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was so cute, and I really hope she writes more in this series. If you want more information about it, go check out my non-spoiler review where I talk about all these, and this book also came out in September, and I really, really enjoyed it. And then continuing with my Sherlock Holmes themes, I also read Lock and Key by Ridley Pearson. Now, this book is also Holmes and Moriarty retelling, and it takes at a British boarding school. which caused a lot of drama. And the point of view character in this is actually Moriarty's sister Myra, so you get a lot of information about them. I gave this book like 3.5 stars. It really was very interesting, but the world building and it really took a while to get into the story. And I feel like at the end I was so excited for book 2, but it really took a lot of time, was a little bit slow to actually get to the drama. But overall, I really liked it. Check out my further thoughts in that video. And then the next book I read was a continuation of The Protector of the Small. This is the Page book. I love this book. I gave this book like 4 stars. It was so interesting, so unique. I loved the elements that happened with Kel's character, and I loved how the characters that she met and the dynamics that were developed was so good, and I'm so excited for the last book in the series, Squire, that I'm going to read in December. I think that this series is definitely one of my most favorites by Tamora Pierce, so I'm excited to see how it concludes. And then the next book that I read, not for the website, but for myself, was The Dead House by Dawn Currigan. I also have a review up about this on my website, and it is a not multimedia, but a book that's told in alternative formats. It's told through letters, diary entries, transcripts, and print descriptions of videos. I don't want to tell you a lot about this book, but it is a very creepy psychological thriller with a lot of possible horror elements. So I really recommend that if you want a creepy read and you don't mind books that are told in a non-linear way, that you check this out, because it's very non-linear storytelling, and it does have a very open ending. So if you like that, I highly recommend you check it out, and you can also check out my non-spoiler review if you want a little bit more information. But I did give this like 4.5, 5 stars. And then the last book that I completed in the month of November was The Revenge of the Evil Librarian by Michelle Cutzon. This is also from that website, and this comes out in February 2017, so it's not actually out yet. This is the second book in the Evil Librarian series. I did not read the first book in the series, but I got sent this to read it, so I read it, and I really liked it. I thought it was super cute. I was a technical theater junkie, and I did a bunch of technical theater performing arts summer camps, and that's the setting of this, and I really liked it. I gave it 3 stars. There is some unnecessary cursing, I think, so if you're going to give it to little kids, just mind that. But overall, I really liked it, and I gave it 3 stars. Overall, I really liked what I read in the month of November. I'm excited to move back to doing video reading for me and not for websites. So check out my December TBR to see what's on my horizon, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!